Folks, let's go to Kentucky, where a black Kentucky judge has taken a stand from the bench, and now he is being asked to step down. Some say forced to step down. Several Jefferson Commonwealth prosecutors are demanding that Circuit Court Judge Olu Stevens be taken off all pending criminal cases. This comes after several controversial posts on the judge's personal Facebook page questioned prosecutor Tom Wine's alleged desire to have all-white juries to decide verdicts in cases with black defendants.
And I think that it is a shame that Judge Stevens has had his ability to be able to judge effectively the way that he wants to judge impeded by the Supreme Court at this time.
The fact remains that it's not going anywhere. Somebody needs to bring attention to this issue. It happened to be a judge that is an African American, and because he's done that, for some reason now he's, you know, biased, racist, and every other word that people have attached to him.
Kentucky Chief Justice John Minton has asked Judge Stevens to recuse himself. Let's go right to our panel. Jason Johnson, Yodit, Tewolde, Shermichael Singleton. Shermichael, here's a judge who is saying, wait a minute, I am seeing clear cases where prosecutors are purposely trying to have all-white juries. Right now, there's a case before the Supreme Court where this was the case in Louisiana, where they actually have the evidence on sheets of paper where prosecutors were putting a B by the name of by black jurors to strike them from various panels. This is a judge who is saying, I see what's going on, but now all of a sudden they want him off the bench because he wants diversity among the jurors?
Well, right. I think we do need diversity amongst jurors, Roland. We do know that it's in human nature to have biases against different groups of people for various reasons. And a lot of those biases, from what we have seen, have led to African Americans being, unfortunately, given lengthier sentencing, sometimes even wrongfully charged for crimes that the evidence proved otherwise. So I do think that's very important. However, I'm a bit weary from the standpoint that I'm concerned that if we go into this, there may be other individuals who may be of a Muslim faith or who may be gay or bisexual who may say, well, there isn't a Muslim on the jury, so I don't think this is fair, or there isn't a gay person on the jury, so I don't think this is fair. So I agree with the judge. We do need diversity, but I think how we tackle this has to be very careful.
Sure, Michael, I'm sorry. First and foremost, we look at a lot of these cases. I mean, there's a historical fact.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though. It's not like someone is sitting here saying being judged by a jury of your peers and you're striking somebody who's gay. First of all, you don't even know. Look, Yodit, you know.
You don't even know who's gay.
You don't even know who's gay.
Roland, the point that I'm trying to make is that...
Yodit, I'm sorry, sure, Michael, you don't know who's gay, but you sure as hell know who's black.
Okay, Roland, I understand that, but what I'm saying is other individuals of whatever differences may say, I don't feel that this jury will do their best in judging me because they don't share some similarity of me, and we have to be careful with that.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we can't pretend that there is an inherent, just like Roland, I think you mentioned Louisiana, it's actually a Georgia case.
Yeah.
That the Supreme Court is
the
revisiting.
Georgia case, but also the evidence from Louisiana, prosecutors there.
Oh, okay. So yes, so there were notes that were taken during the jury selection process indicating that they were going to strike every single black on that jury. That is an inherent problem. My concern here is, what is the issue with the prosecutor? As a former prosecutor, my job was to find justice, seek justice, and whether that was to my advantage or not didn't matter. So at the end of the day, if I see a judge using his discretion to allow someone, a defendant, to have a fair and impartial jury, a jury of his peers that make up his community, then who am I to stand in the way?
Right. Look, I got to say this, and again, pointing out the non-lawyer here. Number one, do your job, right? Like Belichick says, do your job. As a prosecutor, do your job. And this constant whining about, I don't like how the judge is trying to make the jury fair. Do your job, you won't have this problem. The second thing is this. We don't have to talk about human nature. We don't have to talk about history. We have empirical data. White people convict black folk all the time for things that they don't convict white people for. We have this case right now, the Holtzclaw case in Oklahoma City. Nobody thinks that guy is going down because he's got an all-white jury and he's accused of raping and abusing 13 African-American women. So this is a real issue. The judge has both empirical, moral, and legal grounds to do what he's doing, and these folks don't like the fact that a black judge is using the same discretion. discretion that white judges
Why
do.
is that? What if we had a
Right,
jury?
and I think that-
what if we
that's
had a
what jumps
jury
out.
with,
Go ahead.
What if
Go
we had
ahead,
a
Shamika.
jury with Muslims,
Right.
and there was a Muslim defendant? Most would say, almost most would say, that Muslim would probably get off because the jury is mostly Muslim. So I think for us to say, well, white people
Oh,
overwhelmingly.
no,
Because it depends on what the crime is about.
No, sure,
as
Michael.
well.
Sure, Michael. Here's the problem here. You're throwing that up there. So what if it's an all-Catholic jury?
Right.
See, you're saying
Well,
Muslim.
no, right. Well, I'm just using that as an example,
No,
Roland.
but I'm showing you the absurdity of your example.
Well, it's not absurd. It's not.
Because,
You don't
no,
agree, but it is
absurd.
not absurd, Roland. No, it is not. I don't agree with that.
Bottom line, the Constitution says that a trial has to be tried by a fair and
Correct.
impartial,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
jury that is drawn from a panel that represents a fair cross-section
And I
of
agree
the
with that, and
community.
I agree
So when you
with
have
that.
40 out of 41 jury members who are all white, that is not a fair
But how do we
representation
make it fair?
of
But
that
how do we make it fair?
Well, that's what they're
That's
determining
the
now.
question. How do we make it fair? Do we leave it to the judge's discretion to do that?
And that's what the
What
Supreme
the
Court.
hell are you talking about, Sir Michael? That's the whole point. The reality
Roland,
is,
Roland.
here, Sir Michael.
Okay,
the
go
whole
ahead.
point of it, this is a judge who is sitting there.
And I agree with the
But- no,
judge's
but Sir Michael,
decision,
Sir Michael, here's
Roland.
my whole point.
Okay,
this
go
is
ahead.
a judge who knows what prosecutors are doing.
Right.
This is a judge who is saying, wait a minute, I'm seeing something happen over and over and over again. And so here's what's interesting. When this judge actually does this, all of a sudden, the jig is up. He busted us. Now they're angry.
Right.
As opposed to say, hey, you know what? Wait a minute. Let's take into account what he's actually saying. No, they want a prosecutor too often. They want to keep these high convictions, and they know exactly what they're getting by striking black folks and others from the jury by saying, give me all white juries. That's
Well,
the
again,
reality.
I'm not disagreeing with the judge, Roland. My only concern, and I just want to make this very clear, I don't disagree. I think the juries do need to be fair. I think the facts empirically do show that. However, my only concern is, if we do have a judge or we do have a defendant who may say this jury for whatever reason is not representative of me for some cultural reason or for some ethnic reason or for
But
some
that's not
religious
what the-
reason,
but
That's not
nobody
what
was
happened.
saying that.
but it leads,
That's
but it
what
could
the
lead
Batson
to that.
challenge
But
is
it could
for.
lead to that.
Somebody did,
That's why
it's
we have
fine.
Batson.
I don't
We
have
have
a problem with
Batson
somebody
challenges.
saying that.
We
Look,
don't.
You
look,
don't have a problem with
if
that.
If I were a gay man accused of assault on another gay man, and I say, yo, I want some gay people on the jury because there may be some cultural communications and issues in this case that this straight jury wouldn't understand, you have every right to
So
make
then
that
every
complaint.
time, then, are we going to do that for every defendant?
If it's a
No,
case-
my
you
God.
guys,
All
that
right,
wouldn't
well,
hold up in
here's-
court. We can't do
Not
that.
to use a straw
We
man's
need to
fallacy,
revisit
but
what
are
the
we-
Batson, what the Batson case is about, you guys. That's not what it's about. You cannot strike a juror based on race.
No, and I don't disagree with that. That's a fact. I
And if
don't
a
disagree with
defendant
that.
has a problem with the way a prosecutor has handled his
Right.
strikes, then he raises a challenge, and the judge at that
Right.
point rules on that.
Vote
That's
so
how
tight.
that goes.